If you are between 22 and 29 years old and you are not actively investing right now, you are losing $200,000. Not someday, not eventually. Right now, today, every single month you keep that money in a savings account, or worse, spend it, that gap grows wider. And by the time most people realize what happened, it is already too late to get it back. The number one wealth-destroying mistake made in your 20s is not buying the wrong stock. It is not falling for a crypto scam. It is not even racking up credit card debt, though that is a close second. The real mistake is simpler and far more expensive than any of those. It is waiting, just waiting. In the next 12 minutes, you are going to see the exact math that turns a small delay in your 20s into a $200,000 shortfall before your 30th birthday. You will learn what psychological trap is keeping 73% of Americans from building real wealth, and it is not laziness. And you will get a specific 3-step framework you can execute this week, no matter what your income is right now. Stay with this because the numbers we are about to walk through will fundamentally change how you think about time and money. Let's start with the math, because most people have heard start early their whole lives and still have not done it. The reason is simple. Nobody has ever shown them the actual numbers. Here is the calculation. Two people, same age, same income, same financial starting point at 22. Person A starts investing $1,000 per month immediately at 22 years old. They put it into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. The S&P 500 has returned an average of 10.7% annually over the last 50 years. That is the documented, audited, long-term figure from Morningstar's index return data. We will use a conservative 10% to keep the math clean. Person B decides to wait. They will start when they feel more financially stable. They will start when the market calms down. They will start when they pay off their car. They will start next year. They do not invest a single dollar until age 30. By age 30, 8 years later, Person A has invested $96,000 of their own money. At a 10% average annual return, that account is worth approximately $197,000, almost exactly $200,000. That is not a projection. That is standard future value math you can verify in any financial calculator right now. Person B at 30 has zero invested. Zero, the gap between them is $197,000, created entirely by one decision made at one moment in time. And here is what makes this genuinely devastating. That $197,000 sitting in Person A's account at 30 is not just $197,000. It is a machine, because that money continues compounding for the next 35 years whether or not they add another dollar. By retirement at 65, that initial 8-year investment, that $197,000, grows into $3.4 million at the same 10% average return. Person B, starting at 30 and investing the same $1,000 per month all the way to 65, ends up with roughly $3.8 million. Closer, but Person B invested $420,000 of their own money to get there versus Person A's $96,000. The number that matters is not just the final balance. It is the efficiency. Person A built $3.4 million on $96,000 of contributions. Person B had to work almost 5 times harder, contributing $420,000 to come out slightly ahead. Warren Buffett put it this way in his 2014 shareholder letter. Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. Buffett himself bought his first stock at age 11. He was worth $1 million by 30. He often says his single greatest wealth-building asset was not his intelligence. It was time. He is currently 95 years old, and 99% of his net worth was accumulated after his 50th birthday, entirely because of the compounding base he built in his teens and 20s. The math is not metaphorical. It is mechanical, and you are either running it for yourself or against yourself. So if the math is this clear, why does the average American have only $87,000 saved by age 35? That is the Federal Reserve's 2023 survey of consumer finances number. Why is 56% of the country living paycheck to paycheck, according to a 2024 Lending Club report, even among households earning over $100,000 a year? The answer is lifestyle inflation, and it is not what you think it is. Lifestyle inflation is not just buying a luxury car or taking expensive vacations. Those are visible. The dangerous version is invisible. It is the slow, systematic expansion of your baseline cost of living to match, and then slightly exceed, every raise, every promotion, every increase in income you ever receive. Here is how it actually plays out in your 20s. You graduate at 22 making $45,000. Life is tight. You cook at home, drive a used car, split rent. Then at 24, you get promoted to $60,000. Suddenly, a $400 car payment feels manageable. You move into your own apartment. You start going out more. You upgrade your phone, your wardrobe, your streaming subscriptions. At 26, you hit $75,000. Now a weekend trip feels affordable. A nicer apartment. Maybe a dog that costs $200 a month in food and vet bills. At 28, you are making $90,000 and somehow you still cannot find $500 a month to invest. This is not anecdotal. The DALBAR quantitative analysis of investor behavior, which has tracked individual investor performance for over 30 years, found that the average equity investor earned just 3.7% annually over a 20-year period ending in 2023, while the S&P 500 returned 9.8% over the same period. The gap is not market timing or bad stock picks. It is behavioral. People keep redirecting money that could be invested into higher-cost lifestyles, and they never actually begin. David Bach, financial author and advisor, documented this pattern extensively in his research for The Automatic Millionaire. He coined the term the latte factor, not to say coffee is a financial crime, but to illustrate that small, daily, habitual spending adds up to enormous investable capital over time. He tracked a real couple, Jim and Sue McIntyre, both schoolteachers in California, who on modest combined income built a $2 million net worth by their mid-50s. Their method: they automated $300 a month into index funds from age 23 and never increased their lifestyle faster than their savings rate. That is the documented case. The second trap inside lifestyle inflation is what behavioral economists call present bias. Your brain assigns dramatically more weight to money right now versus money in the future. A Princeton study by economists Labson and Choi found that people need to be offered a 40% better return to choose a future reward over a present one of equal actual value. This is hardwired. It is not a moral failing. It means your brain is actively working against your wealth every single day, and the only way to beat it is to remove the decision entirely. There is a third trap that hits specifically in your 20s, analysis paralysis. A Vanguard study found that people with access to 401(k) plans took an average of 27 months to enroll when enrollment was opt-in. When enrollment was made automatic, meaning you had to opt out, participation jumped from 49% to 86% overnight. The investment options did not change. The math did not change. Only the default did. The people who waited were not stupid. They were frozen by too many choices and the psychological safety of doing nothing. Understanding these traps matters because they are the actual reason the $200,000 gap exists. It is not that people do not earn enough. It is that every month, a combination of lifestyle creep, present bias, and decision paralysis quietly steals the capital that should be compounding. Now let's get specific, because understanding the problem is meaningless without a concrete action plan. Step 1. Automate before you can spend it. This is not a motivational suggestion. It is the mechanism. On the day your paycheck hits your account, an automatic transfer goes directly to your investment account before you see it, before you budget it, before you decide whether you feel like investing this month. This is called paying yourself first, and it is the single most documented wealth-building behavior across every major longitudinal financial study. The account you automate into depends on your situation. If your employer offers a 401(k) with any match at all, that match is a 50% to 100% guaranteed instant return on your money. Nothing in the market can compete with that. Capture every cent of it first. After that, the Roth IRA is the most powerful tool available to most people under 30. In 2026, the contribution limit is $7,000 per year, $583 per month. Money goes in after tax, grows tax-free for decades, and comes out tax-free in retirement. On a 40-year horizon, the tax-free growth alone is worth tens of thousands of dollars versus a standard brokerage account. Step 2. Own the whole market for almost nothing. You do not need to pick stocks. You do not need a financial advisor. You do not need to understand earnings reports or price-to-earnings ratios. You need one fund. Vanguard's VTSAX, the Total Stock Market Index Fund, or its ETF equivalent, VTI, holds over 3,700 U.S. companies in a single fund with an expense ratio of 0.03%. That means for every $10,000 you invest, you pay $3 per year in fees. The average actively managed mutual fund charges 0.66%, or $66 per year on the same $10,000. That difference sounds trivial. Over 40 years at $1,000 per month, that fee gap costs you approximately $340,000 in final wealth. Vanguard's own research, published in their 2019 Advisor Alpha White Paper, quantifies this drag extensively. John Bogle, who founded Vanguard and created the first index fund in 1976, said, "Don't look for the needle in the haystack, just buy the haystack." That single principle, applied consistently, is how ordinary people build extraordinary wealth. Set up automatic monthly purchases of a total market or S&P 500 index fund and stop watching it. Step 3. Defend your savings rate like it is your most important number, because it is. Your savings rate is the percentage of your income you invest each month. It is more important than your investment returns. It is more important than your salary. According to research by financial independence blogger Mr. Money Mustache, whose analysis was later cited in mainstream academic financial planning journals, if you save 10% of your income, you will retire in 43 years. If you save 25% in 32 years. If you save 50% in 17 years, the returns are relatively fixed. Your savings rate is the lever you actually control. A savings rate of 20% is achievable for most people in their 20s before lifestyle inflation sets in. That means the first raise you receive, you invest half of it and allow yourself to enjoy the other half. The first time you pay off a debt, a car, a student loan, a credit card, you redirect that entire monthly payment into investments instead of into a higher lifestyle. You treat your savings rate as a non-negotiable fixed expense, not as whatever is left over at the end of the month. Because whatever is left over at the end of the month is always zero. That is behavioral economics. Plan around it. Let's make this concrete with a documented case. Chris Raining was a software developer in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. By age 35, he had accumulated $1.127 million and retired. His story has been covered in detail by CNBC, MarketWatch, and Business Insider, and he has published his full financial history publicly. Raining did not inherit money. He did not start a company. He did not make a six-figure salary. His peak income was around $90,000 annually. What he did was relentlessly boring and entirely replicable. He started investing at 25 with $500 per month. He increased that amount every single year as his income rose, refusing to let lifestyle inflation consume his raises. He kept his fixed expenses, housing, transportation, food, at a consistent percentage of income regardless of what he earned. And he invested exclusively in low-cost index funds, the S&P 500 and international equity funds with expense ratios below 0.1%. By age 28, he was investing over $2,000 per month. By 32, over $3,000 per month. He did not time the market during the 2008 financial crisis. He did not sell during the 2011 correction or the 2018 pullback. He kept buying. The key number in Raining's story is not his million-dollar balance. It is his savings rate. At his peak, he was saving and investing 40% of his gross income. He has said publicly that the turning point was a single realization in his mid-20s. Every dollar he spent today cost him not $1 but approximately $25 to $30 in future wealth, because of what that dollar could have become through compounding. That mental shift, from thinking in today's dollars to thinking in future dollars, is what separates accumulators from spenders. He also speaks candidly about the mistakes he made before he got disciplined. From 22 to 25, 3 years, he essentially invested nothing while earning a full software salary. He has estimated that delay cost him approximately $180,000 in final portfolio value, a number strikingly close to our $200,000 calculation, arrived at from a real life rather than a spreadsheet. The documented lesson from Raining's case is exactly what the math predicts. The window between 22 and 30 is disproportionately valuable. The habits and systems you put in place during those 8 years determine not just what you have at 30, but what you have at 65. Miss that window and you are not just behind. You are working against an accelerating gap that grows every single year. There are thousands of documented cases like Raining's in the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early, a community of primarily ordinary income earners who built significant wealth through high savings rates and low-cost index fund investing. The community data, aggregated from sites like Reddit's r/financial independence with over 2 million members, consistently shows the same pattern. The people who started in their early 20s reached their targets a decade earlier than identical earners who started at 30. Not slightly earlier, A full decade. Here is what I want you to do in the next 24 hours. Not next week. Not when you feel ready. Tomorrow. Open a Roth IRA. Fidelity and Vanguard both have zero minimum requirements as of 2026. Set up an automatic monthly transfer, even if it is $100. Put it in a total market index fund. Then set a calendar reminder 90 days from now to increase that amount by 10%. That is the entire system. Everything else is noise. If this video shifted your thinking about time and money, and specifically about what the next 8 years of your 20s are actually worth, subscribe to this channel. Every week, this channel breaks down the real mechanics of personal finance, investing, and wealth building without the hype, without the get-rich-quick noise, and without the financial jargon designed to make simple things sound complicated. Hit the notification bell so you do not miss the next one. Here is the final thought to sit with. The $200,000 gap we walked through today is not caused by a market crash. It is not caused by bad luck or the wrong economy or being born at the wrong time. It is caused by a decision, or more precisely, a series of non-decisions made between 22 and 30. A slow accumulation of months where money got spent instead of deployed. The market does not care about your intentions. It does not reward planning or knowledge or good financial literacy. It rewards only one thing, money that is invested and left alone to compound. Every other financial concept, tax optimization, asset allocation, diversification, those are multipliers on a base. And the base is action taken early. You now understand the math, you understand the traps, you have the framework. The only remaining variable is whether you act today or join the 73% of Americans who understand it perfectly and still wait. Plant the tree. Sit in the shade at 50. The window is open right now. SEOTAGS, personal finance, investing, wealth building, financial freedom, passive income, compound interest, index funds, Roth IRA, financial independence, money mistakes, investing in your 20s, how to build wealth, financial mistakes to avoid, money tips, financial independence, retire early, description. Most people in their 20s are making a $200,000 mistake without realizing it. And it has nothing to do with picking bad stocks or losing money in crypto. It's simpler, quieter, and far more expensive than that. In this video, we break down the exact math behind the $200,000 wealth gap created by delaying investment from age 22 to 30, the behavioral traps that cause most people to keep waiting, and a specific 3-step action plan to fix it, no matter what your income is right now. What you'll learn: why every month of delay in your 20s costs exponentially more than you think. The lifestyle inflation trap that quietly kills compound growth. How Warren Buffett, index fund pioneer John Bogle, and real-world case studies built wealth through one simple principle: the exact accounts, funds, and automation strategy to start building wealth this week. 0, 0, 0. The $200K mistake 1, 0, 0. The math of time 3, 0, 0. The lifestyle inflation trap 6, 0, 0. The 3-step framework 9, 0, 0. Real case study. $1 by 3512, 0, 0. Your next 24 hours: personal finance, investing, wealth building, financial freedom, passive income.